Page 37 being the absolute, yeah, and you'll need to be a little bit louder.
How's that?
That's much better. Bernie, will you start us off?
Yes. Chapter 5, Being the Absolute. Although the Absolute cannot directly alter the creation, it can, over a very long period of objective time, using repeated passages through the creation, produce change by the radiating power of influence. Being the Absolute is like never-ending baptism, total immersion in a salt water flotation tank, without external sensations or vision. Eventually, the weight of timelessness gives way to full-blown tactile hallucinations. When we invoke the presence of the Absolute, in much the same way we invoke our own presence into the biological machine, the Absolute is able to subjectively experience the phenomenal visions, the hallucinations of a lower order of life, which is us and our world, and although to us the experience may seem to continue for years, to the Absolute, the whole passage from beginning to end seems like only one moment, one single out-breath. At the end of the out-breath, life comes to an end, and the being is recalled into the Absolute by the in-breath. Like that.
Thank you. I'm going to change our manner of reading today and just ask some pertinent questions by which we may do a little bit more delving. Has anyone had the experience of being in a flotation tank?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Bartleman, Sandy, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. So when it says total immersion in a saltwater flotation tank without external sensations or vision, is that something is that how you would describe your experience in the tank?
Yeah. Yes.
Has anyone also been baptized?
I was, but I was a baby.
When you're a baby? Okay. And Bartleman?
Yeah, I went out and asked a preacher to baptize me, or a reverend, or Knox United Church.
Okay, I didn't hear the last bits that you said knocked you out of the what?
I went out and seeked a pastor or a priest or whatever from the Knox United Church and asked him to baptize me.
Yeah, in a tank or just with dribbling water over you?
Oh no, I thought you meant baptized.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no water, open air.
oh, okay. Different traditions in Christianity use different methods of baptism. Some people dribble water over you.
Yeah.
Some people take you down to the river and submerge you and lift you up. Some people have a tank in the back of their sanctuary, and you actually go back there and get dropped in. That's what I meant. Okay. Anybody else have an experience of baptism of any kind?
Just as a baby. Yep. Catholic baby.
Say again, Tom, and a little bit louder. I'm just not hearing people.
I'm just wondering if it's your audio, if you can change your audio in audio preferences, maybe audio settings.
Got it.
Yeah, because I had to do that earlier today.
Yeah.
Output volume. Yeah. Okay, great.
Is this better?
No, it's for you. Do you feel it's better? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I just changed it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have baptism of any kind?
Yes, as a child, of course, in the church with us, the classic. I don't recall it.
You might have been like a smaller size or something, perhaps.
Yes, small, very small. But it always intrigued me. Not in the ritual Catholic. It always intrigued me in the more sect style. That the baptized guy is almost choked in the water, and probably I always thought that it was not only a ritual; it was something that the guy, the victim, say experienced something near death. No, he couldn't breathe. He couldn't get out of the water. He was submerged and stayed there.
Yeah.
And probably there has something that is beyond the ritual, at least the Christian ritual. I don't know.
Yeah. I wondered that myself when I read this paragraph again. I thought, oh, are we relating a personal experience of some kind to the wording which says being the absolute is like never-ending baptism? And I'm going, oh, depending on your experience of baptism, I'm on page 37, top of the page, chapter 5. So it seems like in this particular case, the arrangement of the data and the metaphors or similes or whatever you want to call them, the descriptive phrases, are really drawing on physical experience. So we'll go to the last sentence of the next paragraph, and it says, at the end of the out-breath, life comes to an end, and the being is recalled into the absolute by the in-breath. And then if you circle back to the first sentence again, it says, being the absolute is like never-ending baptism. So as an image, if you get this circular vision of a description of the activity of the absolute or the existence of the absolute or the phenomena of the absolute, I don't know what good word would work, but there is a very straightforward diagrammic look to this picture for me now, since I took it apart that way and I looked at it as, oh, it's experiential and it has description that is of the physical form. And that helped me kind of get to this next paragraph, which is the one that stopped me last week or the last time, and I had to say, we got to read this again. So I'm going to go on unless anybody else has something they want to say so far about the first two paragraphs.
I was just thinking that I like the way the whole of the life seems to continue for years from our perspective, but yeah, to the absolute, the whole passage is only one moment. Yeah, I like that because
Yeah.
it's like totally different perspectives, I guess. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And compared on the same page in the same paragraph. That's what hung me up the last time I was trying to put it all together. And I realized I needed to go, picture by picture, and I would do better. Okay, I'm going to read the bottom paragraph on page 37. The involuntary process being drawn back by the in-breath of the absolute is called the great return. And each passage of the absolute through the creation is subject to this inevitable return. It is the inexorable inevitability of this return which causes the higher emotion of regret within the absolute, which corresponds more or less to that deep abiding feeling of disappointment and unfulfillment felt by women when their men jump out of bed and go running off somewhere, just as they were beginning to feel secure enough to risk opening themselves up to the warmth of intimacy. I cannot imagine a diagrammatic picture of the absolute any different from the first page than this paragraph is on this page. It just, I'm going, what? What? It is the inexorable inevitability which causes the emotion of regret. Goodness.
Well, I'd ask if women feel that way, but I think maybe I'll just leave it alone. Anyway, thanks.
You could just take it as a given that the description could be the first part of, remember this paragraph is one sentence. The first part of the paragraph, it says, it is the inexorable inevitability of this return, and then jump to the bottom part of the sentence, which says, risk opening themselves up to the warmth of intimacy. So it's like, okay, so the absolute is in a situation where there's risk, and the risk has to do with, I don't know, disappointment. I'm not sure. I can't get it. So I'm stopping chattering and letting somebody else jump in here.
Very interesting.
Thank you. The word is intimacy. Intimate.
Say again.
I think that I don't know if you were asking a question. I think the point is, in this case, not the woman or the man, no, the being is a pointing of losing the intimacy, no, the warmth of intimacy. It's a comparison with, I don't know, it's exactly that. It's an analogy, And I think we all understand that analogy. The man gets up, the zipper says, then finish. I have finished, so let's go each our own way, no? But this comparison, this corresponds more or less. So it's not exactly. Probably it's worse. Probably it's worse, the feeling of the absolute. If it has a feeling, if it has a feeling.
Yeah.
I was imagining that, I don't know why, I was imagining that you were warm and confident and someone brings a bottle of cold water and says, "Swash." I said, oh,
Yeah.
what? Okay.
And remember that this explanation is about what was described on the previous page's last paragraph as the great return. And the great return is described as the involuntary process of being drawn back by the in-breath of the absolute. And so it seems like it's got more and more of the content of the experience of the absolute as if a physicalness and also an emotional aspect. Yes, it's a challenge for me. Anyone else want to pop in on this paragraph? It's better if you say no, because otherwise I'm waiting.
No.
No.
Bartleman, would you please carry on with paragraph 2 on page 38?
That would be after warmth of intimacy?
Correct.
All right. If you would like a demonstration of the subjective feeling this produces in the absolute, you can begin by breathing out slowly, extending the breath as far as is safely possible. At the same time, imagining that an entire lifetime has expanded outward like a bubble of air into a vacuum. In a sense, we are breathing life into existence. Then, as the breath comes to its fullest extension and finally comes to a stop, imagine that the lifetime has come to its conclusion, that the breath is no longer able to sustain it, to give it energy.
More? No? Okay. Sandy, can you go on with the next paragraph? I think we have to get through both paragraphs before we can delve in.
Okay, sure. Now, allow the breath of life, which we have pushed out of ourselves, to return into ourselves, bringing the life force back to its source, at the same time annihilating all trace of the lifetime, even its memory. Because we have nothing in which to store memories, and all traces of the life are now extinguished. This more or less describes the subjective experience of the Absolute in its passage through the creation, although it is more dreamlike in quality. And you wanted to stop here?
Yeah, let's take a look at what this explanation or example of the demonstration about the breathing out and that's it. And then letting it come back in, but there's nothing of the previous left.
My
Yeah.
my first emotional or intellectual reaction comes with a question: how can I help? But I have to be honest. It lasts maybe 30 seconds because I understand that the help that absolute needs. I wouldn't say it's beyond my power, no, but it's not an easy help, no. It comes to my mind, or the word altruistic, or giving yourself up, or those lines that they are very Christian in my memory, But here they have they make an understanding, in those religions that now are like fossils, but they have something there, Something that when you see that they have come to this many centuries, maybe they lost the spirit, and they have only the words and the dogma, but you have the feeling that that religion knew something that has been lost in a way.
Mhm. Mm. That's a very interesting take on the description there. Anybody else have one? How it hits you, or what you a reference to something?
I don't know. To me, just the paragraph that I read, it just seemed to be describing us, like we live, and then when we die, all traces of our lifetime are annihilated. Right? If there's no memory of it, no. All traces of our life are extinguished. To maybe not for others, but for us, right? Our subjective experience of it is like, what that means, I don't know. It's kind of well, it's the same as the absolute, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm kind of on Sandy's wave, if I understand what she's getting at, in the sense that these lifetimes, at least the non-essential portion of a lifetime, they just erase themselves. And the only thing that is going to stick or last or carry on is going to be the habit of that lifetime, or I was just talking about this today, the subtler portion of the habit. Can someone throw me a bone? You work on a habit, that's fine and dandy, but then you got to work on what brought you to the habit. Tendency.
Good.
It's like all this stuff that is kind of erased is just the gobbledygook. And all that's left is the habit or the tendencies. of a life?
For hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like a complete beginning at the end of breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from the absolute perspective, no memory, nothing. You start with the exhalation, it extend up to the conclusion for absolute. And once it in breath comes, all goes back into itself in a way. No traces, nothing remain, no
Mm-hmm.
memory. For us, it's a habit and tendencies and all, but for it or for absolute, it's like a everything goes back into inside as a in breath. So great return in a way, right? Every like if we take a whole multi-universe, super galaxies, clusters, and everything, it goes extend up to however you want to expand. But it has its it comes to conclusion at one point, and now once the in breath begins, everything goes back. Nothing
Oh,
remains itself. It seems like no.
so the all-powerful absolute that we believe is all-powerful is a prisoner. Is a prisoner.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
in
a
the
great finding. Now I realize he's a prisoner.
yeah, in the case of being in creation. That's the significant sentence at the bottom of that second paragraph. This more or less describes the subjective experience of the absolute in its passages through the creation, which was the part that I had ignored earlier. It's like I was thinking, oh, that's the experience of the absolute all the time. No, it's only when it's in creation, that's the experience, only it's more dreamlike. So where I came with from this description was, if you would like a demonstration of the subjective feeling, is the beginning of that second paragraph, and then finishes with, this is more or less describes the subjective experience. I'm going, oh, this is like science to me. This is like science, which tries to give an explanation, either by demonstration or by description, of what is actually going on. May or may not be completely accurate, may miss something, but it is like a science. It's attempting to be complete. And it says, you know, that this is of the subjective experience when it's passing through creation. And I go, oh, duh. I missed that part. I was assuming that was the whole thing.
So how might you, my friends, tie in that analogy I heard EJ speak about, where the absolute is holding creation in its arms like a dead baby trying to wake it up?
How many hours do we want to spend on that?
Is that just another can of worms altogether? Stuff is heavy duty.
From one metaphor to another, to another, to another. how do you speak of the absolute, the description of its existence, its all that? I mean, what manner do you do? This text speaks of the creation for me, in a combination of poetic word usage, familiar, normal people type analogies, and I can't think of how to put the last bit, which is it's etheric. So what word can you use that's gonna state the ethericness of it? So that's how I finally, remember 2 weeks ago when we had our session and I said, we have to look at this again. And I was just in the dither because I could not figure out how to approach it. And I finally figured out that if I have a way to describe to myself the manner in which it's speaking, I have a better chance of grasping the what that it is speaking of. So, but I was an English major, so. But yeah, that's exactly it, Barnum. And how do we do that? Yeah.
We need some common language.
Well, you mean other than English and human?
Yeah, I think cosmic or something.
Yeah. I'm with you. Bring it out. Let me see it. Tom, would you like to jump in there and start on the next paragraph, please?
Sure.
Here we go again.
What? Sorry, which are we at the very bottom of 38?
That works for me.
Okay. As the absolute, your attention on the creation is very high. What else is there to occupy it? You can dimly perceive the interior groanings of life. Imagine lying in a pool of warm water as in a womb, except that you are completely exposed to the void, naked in the most raw sense of the word. Is that a good place to stop, or should we go on?
But, sorry, maybe my English is not good. I can't understand the grammar of the first line. As the absolute, your attention on the creation is very high. Can you explore that line?
The way I see it, Bernie, but that's just me. That's where what I said earlier about the absolute holding creation as a baby in its arms, trying to wake it up. That's just me, though.
I really cannot make sense of the grammar of it.
Okay. Yeah, I see. The phrase as the beginning the sentence, I can see that would be complex.
Could be a comma after absolute.
Sure, but it wouldn't necessarily point in a clarifying direction. Bernie, what if you said the creation is where you have all of your attention, or the creation is what you have all of your attention on, something like that. Does that make it more clear?
Mother and child.
Say again?
Mother and child.
Mother and child.
Patricia, could you also say, if you were the absolute, your attention on the creation would be very high?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Which we are the absolute,
Yes.
right?
That works. That works better. Yeah.
yes, in that grammar, it makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was helpful. Tom, would you mind reading the next paragraph, please?
Okay. You are completely, totally awake. The whole of your attention concentrated on yourself. There is nothing outside yourself which could distract your attention. Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the previous paragraph, it says your attention is on the creation, but is the creation the same as yourself?
Oh, my God.
Oh.
I think when EJ talks, it's very difficult to imagine that it can't be exactly logical. I think, but that's just me saying that. But like, it's got to be images that speak something, but it can't be completely logical.
That paragraph that Tom just read, you are completely, totally awake. The whole of your attention concentrated on yourself. That to me is telling me I'm the absolute right now. Or at the very least, an awake being. Going down into the rest of the words in that paragraph. I don't know how everyone else feels. I mean, who's completely, totally awake? You are completely, totally awake. The whole of your attention. Who's you and your?
Good point.
Your attention concentrated on yourself. That's my question.
That's what I was going to ask. Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Well, English teacher has returned. Look at the second paragraph on page 38 that says, if you would like a demonstration of the subjective feeling this produces in the absolute, you can, and then it describes what you can. And then at the next paragraph, it says, now allow the breath of life to, and he describes what you can have the breath of life do. And now the bottom sentence says, as the absolute. So we are having the experience as the absolute. Your attention is very high. So what happened for me was I took the assumption as being real when it said, if you would like a demonstration, you can begin by breathing out slowly. And everything after that is as if I am the absolute. That's where I started it. I remember doing that as an exercise. So when you get to these sentences which say, you can dimly perceive the interior groanings and you are completely, totally awake, those are descriptions of me as the absolute. And I'm accepting that as a condition of my reading of the sentence so that I'm allowing, you know, my disbelief of the improbability of that being true to subside for the moment. Does that help?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it does.
Tom, did you get to complete your reading? I can't remember.
No, I just got to the
Yeah, keep
first, yeah.
keep
Okay.
going. Yeah.
You are completely, totally awake. The whole of your attention concentrated on yourself. There is nothing outside yourself which could distract your attention. Slowly, you become aware of something or other proceeding within yourself, but you have no idea what it might be. It is vaguely uncomfortable. You have never experienced this before, as far as you can remember, and there is no one else to ask about it. You cannot go for help, nor will outside help ever arrive. That's
Thank you. Shall we
Sounds like
proceed?
the absolute to me.
Thank you for the confirmation. Oh, man. That's like the chorus in the Alleluia. Amen. Amen. You said it, brother. Oh, my goodness. Comments, questions on this paragraph?
I wrote the mark and I wrote a trip. You know, the trip where you take something like acid or whatever, and it's fun at the beginning, and then you say, "How? Please let me go down. No, let me go out." Because it was fun for the first maybe couple of seconds, and then you're under a spell, no, and you're afraid that you will never come back. So I wrote that. But please, let's continue. Very
Yes.
like a detective novel. Very interesting.
A detective novel. Oh, that's very, very nice. Thank you. I got to write that in my notes.
Well, he sounds like Sherlock Holmes now.
Jayesh, you are up for reading the next paragraph, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
You try to rearrange yourself in some way to be more comfortable, but nothing seems to have any effect on the odd sensation of discomfort. What can you do? Here you are. Your attention is totally concentrated on yourself in a general way, with a very low grade of interior attention. And suddenly, something begins to happen which demands all your attention. A vague ache, a yearning for which you as yet have no name. Think of yourself as the absolute, eternal, endless, frightened, and yet, whom can you ask? To whom can you turn?
Anybody got an answer to that?
Just the one word that comes up for me is alone. Absolutely alone. No pun intended.
No pun taken. Bernie, will you give us the next paragraph, please?
Yes, thank you, Pat. You know that the only answers you will ever find can only come from inside yourself. Answers you have obtained as a result of observation of an hallucination, something which has no more reality than a hopelessly complicated mathematical formula, which has assumed some semblance of solid reality, but is purely mental. But if you know what the meaning is, can you really depend upon answers which were obtained from a dream? I pass.
So purely mental is not a, it's not a psychological, right?
No, it would
Yeah.
be mental, like as in mathematical, as in a formulation. Something you thought up.
An abstraction.
Say again,
An abstraction.
an obstruction.
Yes, an idea is an abstraction. It has no
Oh,
weight. It has no.
yes,
You cannot measure it.
yes, yeah, a construct. Yeah,
It's a mental construct. And
yeah, yeah, very good. Mental construct.
yes, interesting.
And so, what would the dream be here? Our observation of life, like just ordinary life? Hope not.
Well, my following along so far, which leaves a lot to be desired, but my following along of the content so far is the description of the dream as life. So the reference to getting meaning from something that occurred during life would not necessarily mean that it was valid or held water under any conditions, but that it was like getting, an answer in a dream. There's both sides to this, the idea that the dream state has more objective, non-physical hallucinatory aspects to it is another situation, may be relevant to this. I'm not sure.
Patricia, are you saying that as in like one flash of life, or like what I'm seeing right now with you people?
What I'm referencing in this paragraph is, you know that the only answers you will ever have can only come from inside yourself. So all of this is as of your own experience, your own reality, your own perceptions, blah, 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 all that. So that it says you don't have any, I don't have any confidence that that method of perceiving is giving me accurate data. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I was wondering about the first paragraph about the total immersion in the saltwater flotation tank. Well, eventually the weight of timelessness gives way to full-blown tactile hallucinations.
Exactly.
Similarly, that's like the hallucination in that paragraph.
I agree with you. Yeah.
No, but in this last sentence is a question mark, right?
Yes. Yes, it is. In every way. But I'm going to read the last paragraph of today and see if that makes a difference. All right.
All right.
You may have deduced the existence of others like yourself and other creations like this one, to which you have become involuntarily crucified. But how can you be sure? Suppose another absolute should somehow come along. How could you determine its reality? After all, it might very well be just another hallucination on a larger scale. And even another absolute might not know any more than you have been able to discover. There is no guarantee that you will ever discover objective answers to the questions which have been plaguing you since the dawn of the first pass through creation. How about
Isn't
that?
that a curveball, Patricia?
Yes. Oops. I did not see that coming. Whoops. Maybe I have this all wrong. Of course, the absolute is the absolute of all the cosmoses we can ever know, but there may be others. Perhaps this is the meaning of the quasar, which may be light coming from another creation. On the other hand, it could also be a reflection of the creation folding back in on itself.
Hmm.
Questions about the questions, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Are we asking a question in a way that would give us answers, or are we asking questions that just resolve into more questions? That's how I read this, right offhand is
Endlessness.
there you go. And so do we all. Okay, Bartaman, would you please give us the next paragraph? And then I think we have to go, but let's try it.
The absolute can experience the entire range of creation as if it were a creature within the creation, but it cannot invoke itself into itself because the creation exists forever in a single eternal moment. Objective time cannot really be measured by events, which is the measure of subjective time. Objective time can only be measured by the passage of the being through the creation, which is to say, time experienced as a being, passing through but independent of the creation.
And I would like us to leave that as our pondering point for now. Pardo Man, did you want to say something?
Right in the chat. Patty and Sandy, please say.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I didn't see that. I was watching the screen. Yes.
Pardon me.
Yeah, that's good. I would like us to have enough sessions to finish this book. And then I think I will probably retire from this position, and I will take suggestions of others who could do this job that you might want to offer to me, so I can tell the board that I have found a replacement. So that's a ways away, but just, so you know.
Well, thank you for doing it all this time.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, my great pleasure, I'll tell you. All phenomena.
Is
Phenomena.
Is illusion.
Is
Neither
illusion.
Neither
attracted
attracted
nor
attracted
repelled,
nor
repelled.
repelled.
not making
Not
any
making
sudden
any
moves.
sudden moves.
My
My
habits
habits
will carry me.
carry me through.
Wonderful.
Thank you all. Thank you.
To all.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Au revoir.
Thank you. Bye.
Un beso. Gracias, Bernie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
And scene. I love
Thank
saying that.
Right. That's close of the recording, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Let's read.
So what do we got? Like chapter 5, the beginning.
Yes, chapter 5, and that would be page 37 through the third paragraph on page 40. I guess it's actually the second and a half. I never know how to do that. The one at the top is a carryover, but anyway, I'm going to say third paragraph, completed paragraph of
Okay, so let me do this again. Chapter 5, and then I'll put the title in.
yes.
And what?
Chapter 5 being the absolute, you put the title in.
Yeah, I
Page-
got the title.
Page 37
P.37.
through page 40, paragraph 3.
40. Pair 3. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. Perfect. Thank you, ladies. So
Thank you.
can I just chime in? Are you saying you're going to read with Patty?
At some relatively decent point, yes, I will be pulling back from my duties and responsibilities.
Are you gonna finish
Hidden
hidden
work?
work?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, no,
Okay,
no,
well,
I wouldn't jump out.
Then I vote that Sandy takes over.
Yeah, I would vote that too,
No.
but I would have to
Good.
check with Sandy, and I haven't done it.
Yeah, check with me. Yeah.
We're not having that conversation for quite some time. It's taken us what, 4 months?
To get to
38 pages, something like that.
God, yeah, eh?
You know, we
Well,
only read twice a month, so
Yeah,
yes.
getting through
That's right.
10 pages a month is pretty good.
it is.
We're not doing that. We're doing more like 4 pages a month.
Right.
You know, and what have we got? 170 something? Yeah. it's, you know, it's a good number of months away, if not years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good.
Cool.
All, you know, looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. Already.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
far,
thank you very much, ladies. It's
Bye.
been a pleasure.
man.
Okay.
Sandy, have a
Bye.
good week. We'll have a conversation at some point, just you and me, okay?
Sure. Thank you, guys. Okay, bye.
Thank you all. Good night, Michelle. Thanks for being.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, Michelle.
Ta-ta, ta-ta.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.